He originally got an unnecessary roughness hit on Tom Brady.
He did.
That was later rescinded.
He got fined.
But it was rescinded.
It was.
But Skip, for me, when I look at it, now Jerry's tied up all these players to long-term deal now, notwithstanding Dak and Amari. At some point in time, and you play a professional sport, the commodity is draft picks. You keep giving away all these draft picks, and you got nothing to replenish. Because eventually, Skip, these guys that you got signed to a long-term deal, it's going to be time to move on from them. So what are you going to do? And I agree with Jerry. Skip, I believe Jerry would have been willing to give up maybe a first-rounder and a fourth-rounder. I think that's fair compensation, considering that you believe, and a lot of people believe, that the Cowboys are going to be in the playoff. They're going to make a deep run. So that pick could be somewhere between 25th and the 32nd. No harm, no foul for the 6th overall draft pick and a fourth-rounder. But when you start talking about a first, 2 seconds, and maybe even more compensation, hell no, I'm out of that one.
Okay, so I do appreciate that Jerry Jones is all in. He is plunging for a Super Bowl.
Right.
I wish he had been able to pull off the Earl Thomas, because that would have been a much better fit for this team.
Well, he probably could have, Skip, but the money. Because even when Earl was a free agent,
it's all about money.
The money was too much. He couldn't go that price with Baltimore.
I got it. Amari Cooper was an all-time great acquisition. It's right up there with the Charles Haley acquisition that Jerry pulled off. And remember, Charles was not a big star in San Francisco because they had so many bigger stars in the Montana era.
But he was probably the best on the defensive side. Because at that time, they had moved on from Ronnie now.
But he was not a big talker because he barely talked to the media, so he wasn't a big thing when he came to Dallas, because I was covering the team at that point, and we all knew all the bad stuff about Charles Haley, but we didn't know a lot of good stuff about his personality. It was all negative.
The thing was, reporters didn't want to talk to him because they never knew what they were going to get. More times than not, they would go get something that they didn't want. So they didn't even bother him. You didn't want to talk to him.
Okay, so all that was a Super Bowl move, because Jerry pulled that off. And again, Jimmy got upset with me a couple times because I gave Jerry too much credit, but he did. He pulled that off. He was the driving force of that deal.
Right.
Jimmy had to sign off on the deal. Charles Haley was the X factor that put them over the top to win a Super Bowl a year before they deserved to in 1992 season.
Well, the Cowboys were probably the only team that had a locker room that could deal with Charles.
Okay, you're probably right, but it was still a very young football team, and I found Charles to be a model teammate for everybody. Once he bought into who they were, because he didn't buy into the way he was treated in San Francisco.
No.
Okay, Dion was a superstar, so that's a classic.
And Dion was not a trade. He was a free agent with acquisition. So
they went hard after him, and they paid him a lot of money. Amari Cooper is not a superstar acting player. He came with zero ego, and he and Dak went boom, click.
Correct.
So, again, did he upset the locker room? Is he the one that's campaigning on a daily basis for a new contract? He doesn't care at all. So what a sweet move that was for your chemistry. That actually enhanced your chemistry, right?
Yes.
Now, we're going to talk about Michael Bennett in a little bit, but I think Michael Bennett could be the X factor that could put them over the top this year. It was a great acquisition, but he can be a little hard to coach, because I love Michael Bennett. He is his own man. We're going to talk about his stance on standing or sitting for the anthem, or staying in the locker room for the anthem. We're going to talk about it in a little bit and how that's going to fit with Jerry Jones. But the point is, Jerry's all in. He keeps trying and plunging. And now my final issue with this team is, can you go forward with Xavier Woods at free safety and Jeff Heath at strong safety and win? Let's just win the NFC. Can you get to the Super Bowl with those two guys? I don't know. I'll be the first to admit to you, of all the X factors on my team, those are the two most troubling ones, because I don't know if they're good enough.
Because, Skip, you're probably going to have to, you're going to have to run through Aaron Rodgers. You're going to probably have to go through Drew Brees or Kirk Cousins, and all of those guys. Given that Devontae Adams for the Packers come back, you got to deal with them in the passing game.
I agree. And there are days when I'm just closing my eyes because people are just running free all through that secondary. I like the corners. I'm not saying I love the corners, but I like both of them, Byron Jones and Awuzie and Anthony Brown thrown into the mix. But the safeties, it's ironically called safety, and they're not very safe, either one of them, which brings me back to last year's draft. I'm still scratching my head because they gave up their first-round pick for Amari Cooper, so that was gone. But in the second round, they took Tristan Hill out of Central Florida, a defensive tackle, with a whole bunch of high-rated safeties left on the board.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Tristan Hill, I'm not saying he's a bust, but he's done next to nothing so far.
Right.
He's sort of on that Taco Charlton path right now.
But look at Taco in Miami.
Yeah.
Taco in Miami balling the taco truck out every week, Jenny. He got pull the taco truck up out every week. He got like 5 sacks.
I know. I wish he'd be
So
eating tacos in Dallas. I told you I liked him.
you did. I
But Skip, sometimes it comes down to playing time.
Okay.
He wasn't getting the playing time, and so it's hard to show someone what you can do, Skip. You get 3 or 4 snaps a game.
Tristan Hill got playing time early, and then slowly but surely he's losing playing time. And now that Michael Bennett is there, he's going to lose more.
Even more, correct.
But just people might not remember this, but on the board right after that goes Nazir Adderley, went right after that. He went to the Chargers, and he's on IR, so I don't know what he would have done.
Right.
But Taylor Rapp, he goes next to the Rams.
Right.
Do you remember what he did at the end of the Baker Mayfield game on Sunday night?
Yep.
He was the one who broke up the last-ditch pass on 4th and 4 with whatever it was, 33 seconds left.
Right.
Remember? He broke up the pass that would have tied the game.
Right.
He starts now for the Rams and is playing, by all accounts, at a high level.
Right.
You don't think he'd be a starter for the Cowboys?
And Skip, Jeff Heath is not, Skip, the thing is that they love about Jeff Heath, he's not spectacular, he's solid. He's going to play all the special teams for you. He's going to play punt. He's going to play punt return. He's going to be in the kick game. But he's going to be solid. Skip, if you're looking for him to be Ed Reed, if you're looking for him to be Troy Polamalu, that's not a Ronnie Lott or any of these guys. That's not what he is.
And then the next of those 3 safeties that went right in a row, Juan Thornhill went to the Chiefs, and I know he's not a big name, but he starts for the Chiefs, and I know they're not great, but would he have been better than...
You're looking at it from a standpoint like, Jerry, where we're deficient at on that side of the football, the defensive side, is at the safety position.
Yep.
And you don't address the issue. You go D-line where maybe Jerry knew something that we didn't.
Yep.
That some of these guys weren't going to be able to come back, and maybe these guys had some lingering injuries. So he tried to make a strength even stronger by adding, depth at the D-line position.
Okay.
But, Skip, I don't think Jeff Heath will be the reason you lose the game.
All right, thank you.
He might not be the reason you win.
I'm going to take that to my bank. Now, the reason I was happy that the Jets wouldn't even take a first-round pick for Jamal Adams is because of how everything shook out last night. Jamal Adams went on Twitter, where he has got a big voice, and he accused the GM of the New York Jets, Joe Douglas, of going behind his back after he said, "Don't trade me," and trying to trade him.
Right.
Joe Douglas said, "No, I didn't try to trade you. We got calls. We were we did accept the calls, but I didn't initiate the phone calls." Okay.
I wonder if teams call the Rams and ask them would they be interested in trading Aaron Donald. I wonder if teams call in Chicago, "Did you interested in trading Khalil Mack?" I don't think so, Skip. Look here. I think the thing is they floated it out there. I believe they floated it out that Jamal Adams could be had for the right price.
Okay.
And since no one offered that right price, but here's the thing, Skip. You run into, you cause yourself some problems.
Yeah.
Because you got to deal with the guy for the rest of this season.
All right.
And if you don't move him in the offseason, you got hell on your hands again because he know. I said I wanted to be here. I wanted to be a part of the change when it comes, and you tried to move me. So you're almost forced to move him in the offseason. You got no choice.
Okay. So, Jamal Adams, via Twitter, any reports of me asking to be traded from the New York Jets are completely false.
Yes.
Completely false. Josina Anderson of ESPN tweeted, "My understanding is that valiant efforts were made last night to convey Jamal Adams' interest in playing for the Dallas Cowboys, period. We'll leave it at that," said Josina.
How about this?
Well, now think about that.
Yes.
So he's saying that, well, this is saying that he was actually seeking a trade that he says he did not want.
No,
right? Okay.
I read it that I didn't ask for a trade, but if you're going to move me, can you send me to the Cowboys?
Okay.
Can you send me home? Now, Skip, I don't want to go out and eat, but if I got to go out and eat, Jenny, on a weeknight, can we at least go to Mastro's?
Yeah.
Can we at least go somewhere? I mean,
make it worth
well,
it.
shit, I thought you didn't want to go out. Well, look, I don't want to go out.
Okay,
but since I got to go.
If you're
to
insisting that
Mastro's.
you were adamant that you wanted to remain a Jet, and Josina, who I
Right.
high respect for, she's saying, wait a second, somebody in his camp is making valiant efforts to let Jerry know we want to be there.
Yes.
Okay, well, there's something,
Skip,
those are conflicting
but Skip,
statements.
once I find out that you're going to move me at least I'm going to say, you know what? If you're going to move me, you want to move me, can you at least send me somewhere like the Cowboys?
All right.
Don't put me in a situation like Aqib Talib. He leaves the Rams and goes to Miami. Don't send me to a situation like that.
Okay. And finally, if in fact the Jets were willing to at least listen to calls, what does that tell you about how much they value Jamal Adams? In the end,
Skip,
in the end.
For me, Skip, they don't value anything because they already moved Leonard Williams, who was a top 10 pick, top 5, top 6 pick. Jamal Adams was the 6th pick in the draft. So I don't know what they got going on. But the Jets fan, if I'm the Jets fan, Skip, I'm upset because I'm trying to win games, and you're getting the best players that we have. These are known commodities. I understand that the draft capital is draft pick, Skip, but you're talking about a known commodity for an unknown because you said we're willing to go back into the draft and pick next year. At what? You're not going to get a quarterback. Are they moving on from Sam Darnold already, Skip? Is that what you're trying to say? Because it looks like you're going to be tanking.
Well,
we already know Miami's tanking.
I told you before the draft, I'm not buying Sam Darnold.
Well, hell, Skip, look.
I had to buy him one day against the Cowboys, but that was the greatest day of his life.
Well, hell,
he had a day.
I mean, Skip, if you look at it, hell, it looked like Lamar Jackson might go turn out to be the best of all the quarterbacks that came out last year. I mean, 2 years ago.
I'm not signing off on Baker yet. I mean, I'm not writing him off. So
I'm not either.
He got to turn it around.
This is the tough part of the road.
Yeah, okay.
Well, in the end, I'm sorry, Jamal, but I'm happy you're not coming home to Dallas.
See?
I'm happy.
See, you keep